Welcome to another episode of Just Winging It. I don't know if I'm trying to make a chair. Don't know if it's going to work. We shall see. All I've done so far is basically just take my little dude, and I haven't really... I just want to get... Yes, he's got short little legs, but I'm going to put cushions on here. So once the cushions are on, he'll sit forward a little bit more, and his legs will go down. And yes, his little butt keeps sticking out, these shorts. But yeah, I just happen to have some flaps from a box that I was working with that had already had a nice little bend in them. So I'm doing 2 layers. So I pretty much just cut the first one, and then I'm going to glue this onto here at the angle that I want. So I'm going to angle it back just a little bit. And then throw some clips on here, and then after it's dried, then I will cut the second layer away. I just want to make sure that it lines up well. Because, you know, sometimes when you bend cardboard, you'll see how it doesn't line up quite right. So I'm going to glue it, then I'm going to cut it. But that's as far as I've gotten. So I'm going to go do that real quick. Okay, time to use more trash. So, my basic idea for this chair, I'm going to do faux leather cushions. So we're going to jump right in, and we're going to make the faux leather so that can be drying while we construct the chair, the main part of the chair itself. And paper bags, you can use craft paper, like the craft paper that comes in when you order something from Amazon, you know, for in packaging to cushion things, is okay, but it does get on the thin side. Whereas these paper bags, or some of the better quality craft paper, are a lot thicker. And because this is going to be a chair, I'm going to roll with the thicker paper today. I like the thinner stuff to do books, miniature books. And the technique will be exactly the same to make leather for little books, which we will do down the road also. Because Hamish is going to need some books. I don't know exactly how much I'm going to need, but I'm guessing that this should be more than enough to make his little cushions. And all you do now is you sit and crinkle. And then you open it back up. And then you crinkle it again. And you're just going to do this for a little while because it's 1/12 scale that I'm working in, and I want nice little creases. So I'm going to do this a few more times. And then we are going to bust out the matte Mod Podge. Okay, we're going to call that good. You can crinkle it after you add the Mod Podge again too. So if you lose some of it in this next step, it's not the end of the world. And you're just going to let this dry, and we will be back. Okay, our Mod Podge is pretty much dry. Holding it in front of my fan here. Now I'm going to put down a base coat of color, and you can see it's looking pretty nice. There's some nice little wrinkles in there. I think that'll work pretty well. For whatever reason, I like this melted chocolate paint that I got, but I got one bottle that's really liquidy, and I don't know why. I've been using it and it's fine, but I don't want to use it on things that are going to absorb, you know, a lot of moisture. This is okay because we've got some Mod Podge on it. I think it'll be fine, but I just thought it was odd that out of the 4 bottles that I had, that one just sounds like water. I don't know if that's ever happened to you guys. It's the first time I've ever had that happen. Thought it was a little strange. But I'm going to go in with a base coat of melted chocolate. Get it on there kind of thin, which isn't a problem with this paint. Next step. I've had this paint forever. Driftwood, apparently, and it's starting to really dry up in there. So we're going to use it for dry brushing. Should be about right. And I'm using kind of a round brush. Just a random makeup brush, because I've got a ton of them that I keep for just this purpose. And I'm going to kind of do just kind of some circles. I'm not going to put a ton of this on because after I'm done and the chair is assembled or the cushions are assembled, I'm going to go back through and on the parts of the seat where it would be more worn, I'm going to do a little dry brushing, like and kind of grunge up the corners, and we'll do some shading once the chair has been assembled. Oops. If I don't screw it all up. Here, I'm going to try. I'll try a stiffer bristle brush. Let's see if that gets what I want. Yeah, that's better. Stiffer bristles are where it's at right now. It's a good thing I've got plenty of paper because that looks pretty crappy. But you can see how it's grabbing all of those little raised edges? That's what we want. And I've not done this in a while, so it's kind of a refresher course for me. Still going in circles. But we're just trying to give it some variation and make it look a little worn. At this point, I'm going to let this dry really well, and then I'm going to put another thin coat of Mod Podge on it because I want to do a little bit of a wash. I'm going to throw a little bit of a black wash on there, and I want these to stay as they are. I don't want to rehydrate the paint and get it all muddy looking. So I'm going to get this nice and dry, which won't take long, and I'll be back after I've got more Mod Podge on it and the Mod Podge is dry. And I wanted to say this time around when I'm doing the Mod Podge, I'm kind of doing it in circles because I don't want the brush strokes to show up in this layer. So I'm just kind of swirling it around and getting it into all those little crevices. And that's where we're at. While we're waiting for this to dry, I'm going to go ahead and cut out some, I don't know if you watched my video when I did the bed, but I've got some of this thin foam from packaging, so that's what we're going to use for our seat cushions. Alright, we're going to throw a little bit of wash on here. This is just the black wash that I use for everything. I think this one in particular has a couple drops of dish soap in it. And the dish soap just kind of helps it run down into all the, spread down into all the cracks. So it's not completely necessary. If you don't want to add it, you don't have to. I just happen to have some made up and I'm going to use it. A lot of times when I'm doing buildings or, you know, other textures, I'll just take the wash and I'll squirt it all over. But not with this. I want to be a little more careful with this, so I'm going to actually apply it with a brush. And I don't want to go too heavy. Now remember, when you do a wash, it always looks scary at first, but it always dries much lighter. And you can see right away how it's getting down into all those little crevices, all those little cracks, all that texture that we've made. It's just going to add a lot of depth. And that's what we want. And even though in the beginning, remember I put way too much of the dry brushing on that area, I'm still going to do that whole piece because I don't want to waste it. I'm going to use anything that doesn't necessarily work for this chair. It can probably be used to make tiny little leather-bound books. So I'm going to hang on to it. And there we go. Okay, now you want to let this dry very well. And you will see it's magic. Like I always say, that wash is magic. Look at that. Look at all the levels of color in there. How awesome is that? And that's what we want. Now I need to make some decisions. Like I said, we're just winging it. I'm making this up as I go. I have no idea how I even want the chair to look in the end. So this is as far as we've got. I think my plan is, because I've got my two little seat cushions, I think I'm going to cover, and look at that, you can't even see, remember I said I didn't like the one spot because I had done too much dry brushing and I had those light spots. You can't even really tell where it's at because of that wash. The wash is magic. I think what I want to do, I think I'm going to cover the whole back piece like that, and then I will cover the cushions separately. So I'll have the paper on the back come up, you know, not to cover the whole thing, but to cover all the edges and from the top and the bottom. And then when I do the cushions, they'll cover up those raw edges beneath. I don't know if that's going to be round enough for my taste. I think it should be. I thought about maybe running a line of hot glue along the edges. Maybe that would give it a bit of a curve. We'll try it. We might as well. The whole thing is an experiment, so we don't have anything to lose, right? At least it will fill in some of the cracks. But before I tip it, I want to let that glue kind of set up so it doesn't run. I'm just going for like a curved edge on there, so it'll look better when we put the backing on, the leather on. I don't know that that's really going to make much of a difference, but it's done. It's on there. It's not smooth by any means, but oh well, it is what it is. It's on there now. I am just going to use tacky glue because I'm afraid I'm going to screw it up if I hot glue this on here. Okay, I had a couple issues. When I covered that, it turned out a little too small. I think, because when I put this in here, it might work. I'm going to cover this one and we'll see what happens. See, that bottom cushion looks kind of wimpy, doesn't it? I think I need to make a bigger cushion. I don't like how puny that looks. Yeah, I'm going to make a bigger cushion. Okay, well, yeah, I won't be making many books because that's about all I've got left after my failed attempt there. But it looks better than it did. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these down. Luckily, none of this is going to show in the back here because it's pretty messy. There, that's looking pretty cozy. Still a little long for his little legs, but it's not too bad, and he'll be able to recline a little bit. I think that could work. Now, it's decision time. How am I going to make the frame? Let me think on this for a few, and I will round up some supplies and we'll just go for it. Okay. The whole be back in a few ended up being be back the next morning because my brain was not working. And I sat and I thought and thought and thought, and nothing is definite. I don't know exactly how I want to do this, so I just busted out the graph paper this morning and we'll see what happens. So my rough plan is there will be the chair. Then I've got these little dollar store tumbling tower, aka Jenga block pieces that are going to go like this. So there'll be an opening in the front. So I'm just going to have two, one on each side. And then next to those, I'm going to take this and make roughly a rectangle out of the square dowel on each side and put some spindles with, like, you know, matchsticks or skewers or something in them. Or I think this is a bit too ornate for Hamish's taste, but I was thinking maybe put, you know, from one of these oriental fans, maybe put something, I don't know, I haven't decided yet. But right now I'm going to take this dowel, and I'm going to do both sides. And then across where the slant is, across the back, I'll probably just put like a craft stick or something across this way toward the bottom, just to kind of brace everything in. Not that it won't be glued in, but, you know, to look like it's holding the chair. So I'm going to get these cut up and we'll see how they look and then make some decisions from there. Alright, while I'm waiting for these to set and take hold, I'm thinking, because this top edge here will not, it's got that ridge in it, and I don't know, I may go around, I was thinking I might go around this whole edge here. I'm obviously not left-handed. I might do something like, anyway, something like this. And go up and around the edges with some skinny sticks just to kind of clean it up a little bit. I thought about using, I have like a strip or a roll of faux suede, but the edge on it is kind of rough and it's on the thicker side, so I think I might just do wood to tie in everything. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut some skinny sticks to go all the way around. And I thought about maybe doing the wood a different color than the normal, you know, the umber that I've been using on everything else, but I want everything to match too. So yes, the chair itself will be kind of dark, but I think if I throw a cheerful little blanket, you know, a little throw or something on there, or a cozy pillow and a bright pop of color, that'll lighten things up a little bit. So right now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut some skinny sticks to go all the way around. So all these little pieces have been measured and painted. I ended up taking not a skinny stick, but just a piece out of my little bag of tricks here to make some little bars that are going to go in there. I painted everything beforehand so that I wouldn't have to deal with a bunch of glue spots, and I am just going to glue the little side pieces in here real quick, and then we will get them attached to the chair. Alright, while those are setting up, I'm going to go ahead and glue these pieces on to the bottom like that, and all these little pieces around the edges. And when I add these, I'm making them flush with the side of the chair here, because we're going to attach the side pieces onto this and this. So instead of them coming in to match this line, they're going to be bumped out just a little bit so that they're even with this piece right here. See that? All the little edging is glued on. I used a combination of tacky glue and hot glue. We've got the little feet. And these will go like that on each side. As I said, I'm going to glue them here and on here, so everything stays nice and, oops, yeah, stays nice and tight. Maybe I won't glue it on there because there's just little tiny slats. I think it'll be enough if I just go on the Jenga block like that. That should work. So I'm going to get those on both sides. There we go. I added a little crossbar on here also. I don't know that it was really necessary, but to kind of clean it up in the back there. And now I'm going to age the seat a little bit more, and then we are going to give everything a coat of Mod Podge to give it that little bit of a leather look. Not glossy, I'm just going to do matte because that'll give it enough of a shine, I believe. So let me think. Let me round up some paints real quick. I don't know if I want to do like maybe a bit of an orange to look worn, or if I'm just going to go in with some darker colors. Let me think on that. Yeah, I don't think I want to go too light. I think I'm just going to go in. I've got a bit more of my black wash. I think I'm just going to go along the crease of the seat here. I won't go too heavy. It's already a pretty dark piece. So just around the edges. Kind of where the chair would absorb body oils, so up here where the head goes. We'll see where that gets us. That added just enough darkness around the edges that I think I'm happy with it as it is. So I'm going to go ahead and give everything a coat of matte Mod Podge, all the woodwork also, but I'm going to go really light on the wood so it doesn't get too shiny. And then I may do 2 coats on the seat itself. We'll see where the first one gets us. And there it is. I think it turned out pretty cute. I ended up doing just 1 coat of Mod Podge on the woodwork, and then I did 2 coats on the leather. Let me see if Hamish likes it. Oh, it's quite cozy. I'll have to make him a little blanket and a little pillow and a little side table so we can put tea and a book there. But yeah, I think that'll work pretty well. He can sit in front of the fire. Alright, that's it guys. See you next time.